If you don't know, we're an American family of 3 currently living in California. And yes, as the title says, we are leaving America. We have purchased non-refundable one-way plane tickets. We have sold our car. I notified my employer I will be quitting. Things are getting real. Sending in my resignation from my job definitely made me feel the weight of our decision. There's no going back now. So now you may be wondering why we are leaving. The answer may be as much of a feeling as it is a list of reasons, but saying we feel like it isn't very noteworthy. So over the past couple months, I've really pondered this question as to why are we leaving? One of the main reasons we are leaving America is for adventure. A German friend taught me about the idea of Fernweh, which can be translated to the yearning for travel or the desire to be in a faraway place. I think Fernweh is a great word to describe our current desire for adventure. I recently turned 35 years old. Let that sink in. And I have lived here in California my whole life. Now we have an opportunity to do something new, so why not? By the way, I think it's more interesting to see a list as to why one wouldn't want to leave for an adventure. If this doesn't work, then at least it'll end up being a good story filled with new experiences, food, culture, and all shared with my family. Sounds like a great time to me. As another Californian, Steve Jobs, once said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." I could very easily stay here and continue working a 9-to-5 office job for the rest of my life, and live a pretty good life at that. Being able to travel a few weeks a year for 30 more years until I retire in my 60s. Or we can say no to the norm and take a wild leap into the unknown. Really live for the moment. Tomorrow is promised to nobody. Another main reason for leaving our safe, familiar areas to travel. And it would be accelerated travel at that. We love traveling. Having a home base in another country, or even wilder, on another continent, will help us go see more of the world than we would get to see if we stayed in the US our whole lives.
And what are you going to do with all this time?
Sea World.
Kevin, are you saying see the world or Sea World?
And now the toughest subject. This wouldn't be a YouTube video about leaving America without covering our thoughts on America. While I'm grateful to be born here and I'm privileged to have the opportunity and means to travel internationally, America obviously has its faults, and in my opinion is in a pretty bad spot in a handful of aspects of life. Again, this is our opinion and it's okay to disagree. To us, some problems with the USA include America's lack of universal health care.
We don't have that in America.
Which includes the fear of going broke or worse, homeless, if someone gets sick or needs major medical care. Another problem is the political polarization, instability, and dysfunction. The never-ending election cycle, politics and political ads everywhere, and seemingly year-round. Our next elected president pledging huge changes, including mass deportations, repealing Affordable Care Act, and a rollback of climate protection rules and regulations, plus his chilling campaign promise to elect him and, quote, "You'll never have to vote again." We're pretty disappointed with America right now. America has a problem with low-quality foods and unhealthy preservatives. This has been covered on many YouTube channels, so I'll go ahead and link some of those below. An obvious one, America's gun violence problem. We're kind of known for this. I really don't want my daughter to have to go through any active shooter drills or preparations. It's ridiculous. I think we just need a few more thoughts and prayers sent our way. Another issue we have is our government is taking away women's rights. Now that Roe v. Wade was overturned, how much longer until a gun has more rights in America than a woman? The land of gun care and health control. I want a country giving more rights to women, not less. Another issue is America's lack of social safety nets. The US doesn't have a federal law mandating paid maternity or paternity leave. Luckily, California gives mothers partial pay up to 8 weeks for maternity leave. My wife took hers before giving birth, so she was supposed to go back to work a month and a half after giving birth. America also has little options or support for the mentally unstable. Daycare isn't subsidized here. Another huge issue to me is the isolating culture, that suburban sprawl, along with the lack of public transit and the lack of third places have created here in America. I could easily gut it out and stay here, but at the end of the day, we want what's best for our daughter. We probably decided we want to try and move based on years of watching travel videos and doing research, but while reflecting on if there was a definite time, turning point, or event that helped us decide, a conversation on Friday, June 24th, 2022 definitely stood out. I think it sealed our decision as well.
Well, I don't want to blame it all on 9/11, but it certainly didn't help. But
I remember that day clearly. Our outwardly corrupt Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, basically ending the federal constitutional right to abortion in the United States of America. Liz and I were out eating Chipotle in San Francisco. Liz was pregnant with our little girl at the time. Plus, we had just got back from our first Europe trip where we felt more safe and more free than ever before in Switzerland, France, and the Netherlands. I documented exactly what we said and discussed in my journal that day. We decided we not only need an escape plan, but we should just start planning when and where we are going to move. That weekend, I looked at applicable visa options and we started working towards them. And here we are today, a couple years later, and we have officially applied for our visa. Alright, on to our current plan, but before that, finding a path to move abroad was way harder than I thought. People message me every day about job opportunities here in the United States, but all of a sudden I was applying and not even getting interviews because jobs had enough local European candidates that they couldn't review mine. Just finding a visa that had a clear path to permanent residency that also worked for our family and in countries we liked was crazy hard. However, after years of research and discussions, we finally found a visa and a path in and decided on a way that makes the most sense for our family. Our plan is to take unpaid time off to live slower and spend more time bonding with our 2-year-old daughter and less time sitting at a computer desk inside for me. To facilitate this, we are moving to a country with a lower cost of living, but more on where later. We wanted to do a digital nomad visa, but unfortunately my employer said no to going 100% remote in exchange for a large pay cut. Therefore, we are starting on a tourist or non-working visa, often used by older individuals as a retirement visa. No, we aren't financially independent yet, or retiring. This will just be a break, so we will be using our savings to pay for this. I'm not a financial planner, but I know enough to say this isn't a great financial idea. Luckily, life isn't all about finances. The doubters have already told me I'll miss out on some of my best earning years, and to that I say, I don't want to miss out on some of my best living years. And I don't have all the answers, if this is the right thing to do or not, but in our hearts we think it is. Our 2-year-old daughter is smart enough that she now comes into my office while I'm working from home and says, "Come on, come outside, Daddy, let's play." And she grabs my hand and leads me out of the office. How could I ever say no to that? Little things like this have definitely helped me decide to quit and take the leap to try this family gap adventure year out. Our visa, if approved, will be good for 1 year and then renewable if we want after that. In a perfect world, I think I'd be going to Europe with a job offer in a city and country we hand-selected, with me slightly shifting career paths to something different, but that's not how it worked, and beggars can't be choosers. If you're wondering how we can afford unpaid time off, no, we didn't get lucky with any stock picks. We were able to do this thanks to years of working hard, working overtime, and living well below our means. We have never bought a new car. We bought a cheap used car and proceeded to drive it for nearly a decade before selling it. Most of the time sharing one car between the two of us. We always had the oldest, cheapest car in my friends and family group as well. But believe it or not, we still got from point A to point B. My wife has been cutting my hair at home since well before the COVID pandemic started. When I need new t-shirts, I wait for sales at Uniqlo and get my shirts for less than $10 each. I went a 5-year stretch without buying new shoes. We subleased a room in the house we were renting on Craigslist to earn extra income. We cook meals at home more often than going out. I always brought lunch when I work in the office. For 3 months, I worked 2 full-time jobs, starting job 1 at 5 a.m. online, then driving to job 2 at 8:30 a.m., coming home at 5:30 p.m. and working for job 1 until I was too exhausted, then logging out. Then I worked weekends as needed to ensure I got at least 32 hours a week at job 1. All the while, job 2 is 40 to 50 hours a week. I juggled this from November 2018 to February 2019. The best part about working crazy hours like this is the benefit of not having time to spend it. Taps head. All these sacrifices, most small at the time, have allowed us enough savings to break from the norm and live unconventionally starting next year, 2025. We also moved to a very high cost of living area to maximize geo arbitrage potential, assuming we'd want to try to move abroad one day to a cheaper cost of living area. So we estimate our spending to be about $2,000 per month if things go as planned, that is, which comes out to roughly $25,000 for a year, including the visa cost. We may try to stretch it to 2 years, depending on how it's going or how long it takes me to find a job in the next country/market I want to work in. But that's a bridge we will cross when we get there. Now, yes, that sounds like a lot of money, and it is. Sometimes my inner monologue asks myself, are we wasting a down payment on a place? And who knows, maybe we are. We'll definitely be using a lot of our hard-earned savings, but I'm hoping it won't be considered a waste by the time everything's done and dusted. And last point on the finances, if you can't tell, I love personal finance. I'm sure there are people who will see this who have spent $25,000 to $50,000 on a vehicle, and I don't bring that up to hate on your decision, and it comes down to just what we prioritize our money on. Someone watching this is thinking, wow, this guy is an idiot for planning to blow that much money on a couple years of travel. And when I see people driving fancy cars, I always think of how many years of freedom that equates to. Or when I see crazy expensive cars, I always tell my wife, I'd rather buy an apartment in southern France. And it's 100% true. Since age 15, I've been working weekends, starting back to my days at a bowling alley in high school, then fast food and retail through college before starting my professional career at 25. I worked for 10 years without ever having either vacation or sick time off. Up until 2020, my wife didn't even really get vacation time at her jobs. She worked a lot of weekend and part-time jobs like being a hostess at a restaurant. Nearly no part-time jobs and not even all full-time jobs in America have benefits like paid time off. Believe it or not, employers are not required by federal law to offer paid time off in the United States for part-time or full-time jobs. That might come as a shock to any foreign viewer watching this. So we feel way behind on time off and breaks. Okay, to recap, those are the main reasons why we are leaving America, what our current plan is, and how we're able to, hopefully, afford this adventure. If this video gets enough traction and interest, I may turn this into a video series documenting our journey. So if you'd like us to do that, please let me know in the comments below. I'm already leaning towards making a video announcing the country we've applied to and the visa we're going for. I think I watch most Americans abroad who have YouTube channels and share their stories. It's so interesting and inspiring to me. And that's all I have for today. If you watched until the end, we do appreciate that. Take care, and I hope you have a great day. So thanks for watching. Bye.